My name is Agnes, and for as long as I can remember, my life has revolved around my husband Tom. We were high school sweethearts, and our love blossomed into a fairy tale romance. We tied the knot in a quaint countryside wedding, promising to be there for each other through sickness and health. Little did I know that those vows would soon be put to the ultimate test. It all started on a chilly autumn morning when a persistent cough took hold of my lungs. Initially, I brushed it off as a common cold, but as the days turned into weeks, my condition worsened. Fatigue settled deep within my bones, and every breath became a struggle. Concerned, Tom insisted that I see a doctor. Reluctantly, I agreed, hoping that it would be nothing more than a passing ailment. We arrived at the hospital, the sterile environment accentuating my growing sense of unease. Tom held my hand tightly, his eyes filled with worry. After enduring a series of tests and examinations, the doctors couldn't pinpoint the exact cause of my illness. They speculated about various possibilities, from a stubborn respiratory infection to a more serious underlying condition. Each day, the weight of uncertainty hung heavy in the air, adding to my growing anxiety. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows on the hospital walls, Tom sat by my bedside. His face was etched with concern, his voice trembling with genuine fear. "Agnes, I hate seeing you like this," he said softly, his hand gently caressing mine. "We'll get through this together, I promise." I mustered a weak smile, grateful for his support, but haunted by the unknown. The seed of doubt had been planted, for there was a subtle shift in Tom's demeanor that I couldn't quite put my finger on. Days turned into weeks, and the hospital became my temporary home. Tom visited faithfully, bringing small gestures of love and comfort. Yet, amidst his acts of care, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. One evening, as the doctors continued their search for a diagnosis, I mustered the courage to voice my fears. Tears welled up in my eyes, and my voice trembled as I asked the question that had been gnawing at my heart. "Tom, what if they can't find out what's wrong with me? What if this never ends?" I said, my voice barely above a whisper. He took a deep breath, his eyes darting away for a moment before meeting mine. "Agnes, we have to stay positive. They'll figure it out. We just need to be patient," he replied, his tone trying to mask a hint of hesitation. I clung to his words, desperate for hope. Yet a seed of doubt had taken root within me. As the days dragged on, my condition deteriorated further, and Tom's visits became less frequent. Each passing day heightened my suspicion that something was terribly wrong. Little did I know that the true test of our love and loyalty was yet to come. And when it did, my world would be shattered, revealing the darkest depths of betrayal. After a seemingly endless stay in the hospital, I finally received a diagnosis. The relief of knowing what ailed me was short-lived as the true nature of my husband's character came crashing down around me. The doctors had discovered a severe case of pneumonia, but that was not the worst of it. As I returned home, weak and exhausted, I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach. Something was off, and I couldn't shake the unsettling absence of our savings, which we had diligently stashed away in the safe. With trembling hands, I approached the safe, my heart pounding in anticipation. But as I turned the dial and swung open the heavy metal door, my worst fears were realized. It was empty. Every last penny we had saved had vanished without a trace. Panic gripped my heart as I sank to the floor, a wave of betrayal washing over me. Tom had deceived me, along with his conniving parents. The weight of their treachery felt like a crushing blow to my already weakened body. Unable to contain my anguish any longer, I confronted Tom, desperation and anger fueling my voice. "How could you, Tom? How could you steal our money, the money we worked so hard to save? Where is it?" I demanded, tears streaming down my face. He stood before me, his face twisted with a mix of guilt and defiance. "I did what I had to do, Agnes. We needed a fresh start. A chance to live the life we deserve," he replied, his voice laced with a twisted justification. "You stole from me, from us. How could you betray our vows, our love?" I cried out, my voice breaking with each word. Tom's eyes hardened, his resolve strengthening. "Love isn't enough, Agnes. I needed to secure our future. And this was the only way, he said, his words slicing through my heart like a knife. I stumbled backward, my mind reeling from the magnitude of his betrayal. I had married a stranger, a man whose greed had overshadowed any semblance of love or honor. The life we had built together had crumbled before my very eyes. In the days that followed, I discovered the extent of their deceit. Tom and his parents had meticulously planned this grand theft, using our savings to purchase a lavish home where they intended to live a life of luxury at my expense. As anger surged through my veins, I knew I had to take action. The betrayal had severed any remaining ties of love and trust between us. I made the agonizing decision to file for divorce, vowing to reclaim what was rightfully mine and expose their vile scheme to the world. With the help of a skilled attorney, I embarked on a legal battle that would test my resilience and determination. The courtroom became a battlefield, each session an opportunity to reveal the truth and seek justice. In the face of mounting evidence and testimonies, Tom's arrogance wavered, his lies crumbling like a house of cards. The court, appalled by his actions, saw through his charade and ruled in my favor. I had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Though wounded and scarred, I emerged from the courtroom with a renewed sense of purpose. The fight for justice had only just begun, but I was ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. Little did Tom and his parents know that the tables were about to turn, and they would come face to face with the consequences of their despicable actions. Broken-hearted and furious, I knew I had to take matters into my own hands. Betrayed by the man I had loved and trusted, I made the difficult decision to file for divorce. The legal battle that ensued was arduous, but I was determined to fight for what was rightfully mine. With the support of a skilled attorney and the unwavering encouragement from my friends, I entered the courtroom, prepared to unveil the true extent of Tom's deceit. The air crackled with tension as the proceedings began, the weight of truth hanging heavy in the room. As I took the stand, my voice steady but filled with righteous anger, I recounted the events that had unfolded. The stolen money, the luxurious house purchased with our savings, and the web of lies Tom had spun to justify his actions. The courtroom listened intently, the jury captivated by the tale of betrayal, but it was the judge's stern gaze that fueled my determination. I would not rest until justice was served. Tom's defense lawyer attempted to discredit my claims, painting me as a naive and gullible wife who had fallen prey to her husband's machinations. But I stood firm, armed with evidence and the unwavering conviction that truth would prevail. In the midst of the legal proceedings, a pivotal moment arrived when the judge called for Tom to take the stand. The room held its breath as he hesitantly approached, his facade of confidence crumbling under the weight of my accusations. "Mr. Thomas, do you deny stealing the money from the safe, which rightfully belonged to your wife?" The judge's voice boomed with authority. Tom's eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape. But there was none. Defeated, he lowered his gaze and muttered, "No, Your Honor! I confess to taking the money." A collective gasp echoed through the courtroom as the truth hung heavy in the air. Tom's admission was a damning blow to his case, a confirmation of his guilt that reverberated through the room. With each passing witness and piece of evidence, Tom's defense crumbled further, revealing the extent of his greed and deception. The court, appalled by his actions, saw through his feeble attempts to save face. In a pivotal moment, my attorney presented the evidence that would turn the tide in my favor, an incriminating paper trail that exposed Tom's intricate plan to steal the money and purchase the luxury home. The judge, his eyes filled with both disappointment and resolve, pronounced his ruling. Based on the evidence presented and Mr. Thomas's admission of guilt, I find in favor of the plaintiff, Agnes. Not only is she entitled to her rightful share of the assets, but she shall also be awarded the luxury home acquired with the stolen funds. A mix of relief and vindication washed over me as the judge's words settled in. I had secured a victory, a triumph over the darkness that had clouded my life. The courtroom erupted in murmurs, and I caught a glimpse of Tom's face, etched with a mix of rage and defeat. With the stroke of a gavel, the chapter of deceit came to an end, and a new chapter of justice began. I had emerged from the legal battle stronger and more resolute than ever. The tables had turned, and Tom would face the consequences of his actions. As I left the courtroom, a sense of triumph swelled within me. The road to healing and rebuilding lay before me, and I was determined to seize it with every ounce of strength I possessed. As the dust settled and the divorce was finalized, I stood before the grand doors of the luxury home that had once symbolized Tom's betrayal. The house, once a monument to his greed and deception, was now mine, a symbol of my resilience and newfound strength. With the support of my friends who had been unwavering pillars of strength throughout the ordeal, I began the slow process of rebuilding my life. The wounds inflicted by Tom's betrayal would never fully heal, but I refused to let his actions define me. Instead, I used the pain as fuel to propel me forward. With the legal battles behind me, I turned my attention to transforming the house into a sanctuary, a place where I could heal, regroup, and forge a new path for myself. The walls echoed with the sounds of renovation as I breathed new life into every corner, erasing the memories of deceit that had tainted the space. One sunny afternoon, amidst the renovations, my friend Lisa joined me in the newly renovated living room. She gazed around, her eyes filled with admiration. "Agnes, it's incredible what you've done with this place. You've truly turned it into a home," she remarked, her voice filled with warmth. I smiled, a sense of satisfaction filling my heart. "Thank you, Lisa. It's been a labor of love, a symbol of reclaiming my life and my independence. This house will no longer be a reminder of betrayal. It'll be a testament to my strength and resilience." Over time, the house transformed from a mere dwelling into a haven of solace and empowerment. Each room represented a step forward, a corner of my world reclaimed. The once oppressive atmosphere had been replaced by an air of liberation and possibility. As I settled into my new life, I immersed myself in activities that brought me joy and fulfillment. I reconnected with my passion for painting, spending hours in my art studio, allowing the brushstrokes to tell stories of resilience and rebirth. One evening, as I stood in front of a canvas, adding the final touches to a vibrant painting, my friend Sarah entered the room. She observed the piece, her eyes twinkling with admiration. "Agnes, your art has taken on a new depth and strength. It's as if your journey has infused every stroke with power and beauty," she remarked, her voice filled with awe. I nodded, my heart swelling with pride. "Sarah, you're right. Each painting represents a part of me, a visual expression of my journey through pain and transformation. Through art, I've found a way to heal and share my story with others." With time, I began to rebuild not only my physical surroundings, but also the foundations of my emotional well-being. Therapy became an integral part of my healing process, providing a safe space to process the trauma and nurture my spirit. During one of my therapy sessions, my counselor looked at me with genuine warmth. "Agnes, I've watched you evolve and emerge from the depths of betrayal with remarkable resilience. Your ability to rebuild your life amidst the pain is truly inspiring. Remember, you hold the power to shape your future, and it's bright." Her words resonated deeply within me, igniting a newfound sense of self-belief and hope. I had endured the darkest of days, but I had also discovered the strength within me to rise above adversity. Today, I stand in the grand foyer of the house that was once a symbol of my suffering. It has been transformed into a sanctuary, a place where I can find solace and embrace my newfound freedom. Through the pain and the triumphs, I have learned that I am capable of rewriting my story. As I step into the next chapter of my life, I am filled with gratitude for the friends who stood by my side, the strength I discovered within myself, and the knowledge that I am deserving of love, trust, and happiness. The journey continues, and I embrace it with an open heart, ready to seize the possibilities that lie ahead.